Let us continue with technical section 5. Good afternoon to one and all. It's my privilege to welcome our honorable resource person, Assistant Professor Dr. T. Subida, Department of English, Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam. We are very glad to have you as the resource person of this section. Now I request Dr. T. Subida to handle this section. This section is over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, all. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And welcome you all for this fifth technical session for the paper presentation. And here we have again 5 paper presenters. Hope all are ready with their papers. And without wasting much of the time, I think I can go directly into the paper presentation. And first, I request R. Shivahama Sundari. Shivahama Sundari, a PhD research scholar with a paper titled "A Theme of Symbolism in Thomas Wolfe's You Can't Go Home Again." Is Shivahama Sundari ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. All the best.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Respected Dr. T. Subita, ma'am, Assistant Professor of English, Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, presenters and participants. Good evening to everybody. Myself, R. Sivagama Sundari, PhD research scholar, under the guidance of Dr. S. Florence, ma'am, Annamalai University, Chidambaram. I'm here to present a paper on theme of symbolism in Thomas Wolfe's You Can't Go Home Again. Now, I would like to share about the author. Thomas Wolfe is regarded as one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century. He was born on October 3rd, 1900 at Asheville, North Carolina. He was an American writer. He wrote 4 lengthy novels as well as many short stories, dramatic works, and novellas. His final novel, You Can't Go Home Again, was published posthumously in 1940. This paper explores about symbolism. In You Can't Go Home Again, Wolfe rendered his lifetime experience and he used certain symbolic patterns in the novels. Symbolic patterns of reminiscence. First one, the pattern of the family. Although the novel starts out with George Webber in the city, the first significant action occurs when he is summoned home for the funeral of Aunt Mauve. Webber feels the pull of a powerful sense of family ties. Ever since his mother had died when he was only 8 years old, Aunt Mauve had been the most solid and permanent fixture in his boy's universe. As far back as he could remember, Aunt Mauve had seemed to him an ageless crown as old as God. Thus, Aunt Mauve had become a symbol of his blood ties with the mountain clan. From her fantastic memory, she had told stories of their family history, demonstrating their psyche and enduring powers, instilling in the young boy's impressionable consciousness an idea of mythical qualities in the joiners. In the cemetery, Weber encounters Delia Flood, an old friend of the family, who reminds him, "You Aunt Mau always hoped you had come home again, and you will." She said, "There is no better or more beautiful place on earth than in these mountains, and someday you will come home again to stay." But the young writer rejects the entreaty to return the family, for George Weber is not Eugene Gaunt, nor is Aunt Mau an eternal mother symbol like Eliza Gaunt, whom the son will always feel drawn back to. When Wolfe changed the history of his protagonist, he replaced the fecund Eliza with Aunt Mau, a virgin who regards any interest in the flesh with suspicion, and substituted John Weber, a shadowy figure who ran away from his responsibilities as a father, for the monumental William Oliver Gant. With his foster mother dead and his father gone, Weber painfully realizes that there can be no lasting relationship between an educated writer who moved in fashionable New York society and his half-made mountain king. Thus, the illusion of the family, which seemed to represent security, understanding, and everlasting ties, is not sufficient. And Weber has experienced attraction, enlightenment, and severance in this symbolic pattern. Second one is pattern of the hometown. If Weber feels the lost security in his family, he anticipates in the familiar rural landmarks of his hometown, a symbol of permanence in a life of mutability. But why he had always felt so strongly the magnetic pull of home, if this little town and the immortal hills around it was not only home he had on earth. Yet no sooner does he board the train for Libya Hill than Weber hears talk of burgeoning real estate developments, of remarking his hometown into something bigger and better. Wolff has drawn portraits in the social satire mold of Sinclair Lewis, of the corrupt townsmen who relate the progress in Libya Hill, Jarvis Riggs, who runs the fastest growing bank in the state by manipulating the funds of the town with the assistance of the amiable mayor Baxter Kennedy and the politician Orson Flack. However, the changes in his hometown are scored upon Weber's consciousness by his encounter with three symbolic characters: Nebraska Cran, J. Timothy Wagner, and Judge Rumford Bland. Nebraska Crane, a character of pure invention, the um, Cherokee Indian, who was a boyhood friend of Weber, has become a famous baseball star, wealthy and able to retire wherever he wants. On the train, when Wolf asks him if he will be bored by life back on a farm in Zebulun, he reveals an attitude directly opposite to the corrupt town leaders. Crane is the only one of Weber's hometown acquaintances who conceives of land as a place to live and work on. Still, another meaning is evident in J. Timothy Wagner, the high priest and prophet of this insanity of waste, a symbol of the complete detergent of values of the town. For an understanding of the changed values of the town is gained by seeing their new attitude toward J. Timothy Wagner. Weber recalls from his childhood memories a picture of Wagner as a local buckish, an extravagant young man who had run through two fortunes before he was 25, turned into a drunk, and was regarded by the town with disgust. Since the start of the real estate speculation, J. Timothy Wagner had been apotheosized. Tim Wagner had now become the supreme embodiment of the town's extravagant folly. So the people of the town now listened prayerfully to every word Tim Wagner uttered. They sought his opinion in all their speculations and acted instantly on his suggestions. Even Wagner's habit of sleeping in a decayed hearse has morbid overtones for the town, in which 40 people committed suicide when their god of speculation failed. If the townspeople flung paper fortunes away on the whim of a flash false prophet, they failed to heed another local prophet, Judge Rumford Bland. In a short number of pages, Wolf has created a symbolic figure of a proportion of the Gaunt family. Bland is a mixture of good and evil, a fallen angel who tasted the fruits of forbidden knowledge. Blind, now an unmistakable parallel to Tyrese, he had started with all advantages of distinguished family, a lawyer's education, and a good record in the southern community. Yet, for some reason, Bland's reputation soon became strained. His marriage ended in a quick divorce, and he gave up law for the practice of usury and hapless Negroes. He was as callous in his dealing with his debtors as he was with the prostitutes who gave him syphilis. Wolf writes he was stained with evil. There was something genuinely old and corrupt at the sources of his life and spirit. It had got into his blood, his bone, his flesh. Yet this same Bland exposes the corruptness of the local politician on the train within Weber's hearing. They are afraid of him because his blind eyes saw straight through them. Like the Greek prophet, Bland brings the truth no one wants to hear. Do I remember now the broken fragments of a town that waits and fears and schemes to put off the day of its impending ruin, reminding them that he will see them again. The full twist of irony comes when it is Bland who first discovered the dead mayor's body in the public washroom. It's also Bland who asked the nervous Weber the question that structures his future work. I mean, do you think you can really go home again? Sensing the inner honesty of the man, Weber thought that the terrible and cynical release of Bland's abilities had occurred because there had once been a warmth and an energy that had sought for an enchantment of the town's old values and for a joy and a beauty that were not there, but that lived in himself alone. The tragedy of Judge Bland, a potentially great man who had ruined himself, was symbolic of the basically honest and rural Libya, a town that had ruined itself. Weber has learned that the hometown of his spirit has changed radically in form and values, and he cannot go back to any certainty there. I conclude my paper. Wolf's novels present a study of life in terms of these conscious created symbols. These symbols reflect Wolf's commitment to the belief in a system of absolute values superior to man, which gives meaning to human experience. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. And it was a really a very clean and very clear paper presentation. And
Thank you.
yeah, so Thomas Wolfe's uh, there is a plea for life, his life experiences, and the fallen knowledge. And I have a question, I have a doubt even. And
Yes, ma'am.
why he has been like telling that it is being called as a fallen knowledge? Why he has not uh, got a higher thought about his characters. See, he has all lowered his character to a very meager point of elevation. And see, he has compared to like the local politicians. So, what is happening, prevailing in the local politics or in the government doctrines? That has been very much highlighted through the characters, even. And can you please highlight the objectives of your paper once again? Have you highlighted any objectives?
Ma'am?
Am, am I clear? Am I audible to you?
No, ma'am. Please repeat, ma'am.
Can you highlight the objectives of your paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just the findings. Through the themes of symbolism, what are the findings that you have derived? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Through this symbolism, what the author
Actually,
has tried to. Yeah.
there are three symbolic characters, ma'am.
Mm. Yeah.
Nebraska Crane,
Yes. Go ahead.
Nebraska Crane, J. Timothy Wagner, and Judge Rumford Bland.
Okay. So through this characters, what the author is trying
They,
to, speak out, or what he's trying to announce to the society. Are you there?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So your title is The Themes
Oh,
of Symbolism in Thomas Olds.
yes, yes, ma'am.
So what are the things that he's trying to announce to the society, or simply just highlighting the symbols alone, or yeah, he might have tried something. He might have tried to echo something to the society or
Yes,
announce.
ma'am.
So what are your findings? Just read out the objectives that you have mentioned in your paper. That's enough. That's it.
Through through the use of these symbols, he was often able to illuminate those places which to the realist in him remained impenetrable. They were deeply rooted in his sensuous experience.
Okay. So if
They
you
were,
talked about fallen knowledge through this characters. So what do you mean by this fallen knowledge? I've heard something about this fallen knowledge in your paper. What do you mean by this fallen knowledge?
yes, ma'am.
Hello? Is
Ma'am,
there any
ma'am.
reference
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
biblical characters, Adam and Eve? I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
mm, can you refer to that? Mention that?
Fallen knowledge.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I've referred something about the forbidden fruit, the fallen knowledge. Was there any reference with the biblical text? But otherwise, it's your reading is very fine and it's good. Okay, there is like you're very much confident in your reading presentation. If there any mention, otherwise we'll skip off. You want to say something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So basically, symbolism speaks about the emotions of the characters, and it speaks clearly about the
Yes,
state of the mind of the characters, which the author have used or implied in the work. Okay. So
yes,
here,
ma'am.
how far, yeah, Thomas Wolfe has implied or work out with these themes. You might be knowing well. Okay. So all the
Okay,
best, and it was a
okay,
really very good presentation. And
okay, ma'am.
okay, good. And is there any
Okay.
questions? Okay, those are gathered in any questions you can have for Shivahama Sundari. Otherwise, we'll go to the next presenter. Is the next
Thank you,
presenter
ma'am.
ready? Thank you, Shivahama Sundari.
Okay.
Okay, shall we go to the second presenter? I think Dhanalakshmi, Assistant Professor in Parks Arts and Science College, Tirupur.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Is ma'am there? Yes, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
And
ma'am.
yes, ma'am is going to present a paper on psychoanalytic in the novels of Anita Desai. And
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
best, ma'am.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
have your time, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. This is Dhanalakshmi, Assistant Professor in Parks. This paper talks about the inner psyche of the character in Anita Desai's novels, how the environment and culture of the society affect the people, and how they try to found the meaning of the life, which means the aim of the characters are to discover the self identity. The writings of Anita and the society. Among the world literature, the Indian English literature has played an independent role. Wide ranges of themes are based in Indian English. They reflect the Indian culture, tradition, social values, and even Indian history. This has been achieved by the novelists who proved their inner creative talents in English language. Desai raised her voice for her society, not only for women. The characters are correlated in the theme of alienation by feel that or make that. The characters are differed from others. The outlook of characters bring them into new aspects of understanding. which they had formerly rejected or ignored. Thus, the characters are engaged themselves with their dreams and imaginations. Absence of communication is also an essential problem among the characters, and they are struggled to express their feelings and opinions, which they leads them to into the alienation. And the relationship between the people and the environment is always connected. Nature critics take nature as a dominant factors, as they believe that our evolution as a society is largely dependent on the forces of nature. Life, including the human life, is heavily affected by the role of nature and environment plays, and thus nature is the most important consideration of this theory. Anita Desai is established a new genre of novel in Indian writing in English. In spite of dealing with the social, economic, and political cultural matters, she researched deep into this. She portrays the surrounding of environments symbolically in order to recall the feelings of the character. Through the protagonist, Desai explores the deep sense of exile and alienation, especially of her women characters in Indian society. Fiction of Desai is relevant to all times because she writes about predicaments of modern men and women. The most common theme in her novels is the complexity of human relationships, peculiarly the men and women relationships. She portrays their quest of self assertion and self actualization in the face of rigid norms of behavior in a conformist and status quo society. The symbolic fire set by Raka is probably having the underworld effect to set a new order for new growth. The new life and birth generated by fire for Anamika, they struggle to find a new pattern of life or new orders of life. In Desai's novel, love run into familial conflicts, and the result is the harmful relationship between husband and wife, parent and children. Thus, I illustrate the unpleasant strategies of men and women, and it is apt to all the periods. She examines into men's inner psyche, goes beyond the skin and flesh. And today, people are mostly overwhelmed due to the growth of science, technology, and urbanization. Their work culture and ethics alienated them from their self and society. And the modern age has been also called the age of alienation. Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am.
Sorry.
It is on mute.
Yeah, that random
Yes, ma'am.
reading thing. I mean, it's not specified any of the novel. Uh, have you particularly mentioned any of the novel in your paper?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Ma'am, this paper talks about two of the novel, ma'am, and fasting, feasting, and fire on the mountain.
Fire on the Mountain. Okay.
Yes,
So generally, like Anita Desai, she talks about the suppression and oppression of Indian women. I
yes,
mean,
yes, ma'am.
blocks. Yeah, that's a major, I mean, study in all through her work, fiction, that is in Bye Bye Blackbird, or the your like in study novel Fasting Feasting, In Custody, Cry the Peacock. I mean, it's almost in all the works that has been her major and a very, I mean, prior objective of her work. And
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, can you again highlight the objectives of your reading, of
Yes,
your
ma'am.
paper?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. My paper is talks about mostly in inner psyche of the characters, and for the psychological affects how the environment and culture affect the people. and how they try to found their meaning of the life, and how they try to find the identity. This is the major theme, ma'am.
So, they are striving to discover their self identity.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
once they were alienated, they feel like isolated. And then again, they wanted to drive themselves one with the environment or one with the society. Is that
Yes, ma'am.
you are trying to focus?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, but still, they are all very imaginative. Although they are in feels the absence of the present life, they all
Yes, ma'am.
have a lot of dreams and imaginations.
They always live their life into dreams and imaginations. The characters always live in their dreams, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Okay. That's the actually the psychoanalytical works. They basically go with this dreams and imaginations. So it is far from reality. Yeah. So that's what how they have been
Yes, ma'am.
related much with the psychoanalytical. And again,
Yes,
I mean, mentally they have a lot of anxieties, and they fail to exercise those things in their regular life. So once they
yes,
fail to exercise, they feel very much again alienated or isolated. So that's how this they encounter or this they get into get clotted in this difficulty of suppression and oppression, all these things. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So it's again a very good reading, very good, like you're very much confident, and you have
Thank you,
taken
ma'am.
a very limited time, and time constraint is very good. And thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Questions, participants, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, then. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Then we'll pass on to the next presenter. We have Perusia J. Jafflin, again PhD research scholar of Scott Christian College, and she has done this paper in collaboration with her supervisor, Dr. Linda Premlin, Department of English, Scott Christian College, Center for Research, Nagercoil. Is Perusia here? Perusia? I think she's not there.
I think Farooq
Perusia.
is here.
Yes, sir.
Farooq is not here in the
Yes, I think.
platform.
Yes, yes. We'll pass on to the next reader then. We have here Vizamir. Vizamir, she's a research scholar again from Jammu, University of Jammu, and she is here with a paper, very interesting title, Problems of Saffron Cultivation in District Kishwar. So, is Vizamir here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm present, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So, very good evening,
Very good
and I
evening.
hope you're ready with your paper.
Yes,
So, you can,
ma'am. Okay.
it's your time now. Come on.
Okay. Respected chairperson, ma'am, all my co-participants and the paper presenters, myself, Uzamir. I am research scholar from Department of Economics, Saffron Cultivation, with my topic saffron problem of saffron cultivation in district Kishtwar. So here I start my presentation with the introduction part. Needless to say that saffron is one of the most profitable cash crop that is mainly perennial in nature. It is sometimes also called as a red gold in Indian agriculture. Saffron cultivation is also called as a golden zest. More or less, saffron is grown in the belt limited by the Mediterranean in the west and rough region encompassing Iran and Kashmir in the east. Iran is the main country for the saffron cultivation in the world, which is around 90% to 93% of saffron production overall. The Kashmir saffron can compete with the world market since it is acknowledged that the Kashmir saffron is the top class among all the saffron grown and exchanged in the world. J&K is the main saffron producing part of India. Saffron is mainly cultivated in Pulwama, Badgam, Srinagar, and Kishtwar part of the Jammu and Kashmir area. Pulwama has like about 3,200 hectares of land under the saffron cultivation, followed by Badgam having 300 hectares and Srinagar with 165 hectares. Lastly, but not the least, Kishtwar with 120 hectares of land under the saffron cultivation. Saffron in Kishtwar, the cultivation of saffron has occupied about 120 hectares of cultivable land in Kishtwar area, which tends to produce 5 quintals of saffron annually in this part of the district. In the district of Kishtwar, it has a great scope of uplifting the economic status of the saffron growers because it is one of the costliest spice produced in the study area. And it is the second place after Kashmir in India where saffron is being cultivated traditionally. Therefore, it requires an organizational setup for the saffron cultivation on the dynamic lines of the scientific methods, thus providing organized marketing facility for the saffron growers. My main objective for the study was to study the problem of the saffron growers faced in the district Kishtwar during the saffron cultivation. So my sample size was like the population of the study comprised of the saffron growers in district Kishtwar. Multi-stage sampling was used. The study was carried out in Kishtwar district, 3 chosen villages by following random sampling technique, which comprised 120 total respondents, 40 from each 3 villages. Uh, for the problem, I used a Garrett ranking technique. In this study, the issues that the saffron growers in the district of Kishtwar are dealing with have been ranked using the Garrett ranking method. It is used to translate the preferences, order, restrictions, and advantages into a numerical score for the purposes of the preference analysis. Garrett ranking formula is like this: percent position 100 into Rij minus zero point 0.5 divided by n of j, where Rij is a rank given for the ith variable by the jth respondent, and nj represents the number of variable ranked by the jth respondent. Uh, I basically divided the problem at 3 stages, namely pre-harvesting stage, post-harvesting stage, and the marketing stage. Few responses were given, out of which crop destruction were ranked first, lack of institutional support was ranked second, followed by quality of seed was ranked third, and longer plantation cycle was ranked four. Lack of irrigation infrastructure was ranked fifth, and imbalance was fertilization was ranked sixth at pre-harvesting stage. In the next stage of the saffron cultivation, which is at the post harvest stage, uh, unfriendly climatic conditions were ranked first. Lack of modern technology for drying of flower was ranked second. Lack of storage facility was ranked third. Lack of flower picking schedule was ranked four, and delayed stigma separation was ranked five. These were the problems. Those were ranked and faced by the saffron growers at post harvesting stage. The last stage, marketing stage. At this stage, low market prices for the crop was the main constraint faced by the saffron growers. Lack of organized market was ranked second. Problem of adulteration was ranked third. Lack of credit facilities were ranked fourth, and lack of standardization and grading were ranked fifth. The study shows that crop destruction was generally thought to be the biggest challenge encountered by the saffron growers in the study area, which results in low production and was ranked one by saffron growers in the district Kishtwar. The second most significant barrier of the saffron grower to overcome during the pre-harvest period of saffron cultivation was a lack of institutional support, which was followed by poor seed quality, lengthier plantation cycle, and a lack of irrigation infrastructure and uneven fertilization. Unfavorable weather was regarded as a major limitation during the post-harvesting phase. In the term of biggest challenge faced by the saffron growers in the research area, a lack of current technology came in the second place, followed by a lack of storage space, a space of flower picking timetable, and a delay in stigma separation were also some of the major constraints faced by the saffron growers in the study area. Marketing constraint had a significant impact on the production in the study area. The survey made clear that saffron growers in the Kiswar had to face poor marketing pricing. Saffron grower who has ranked price volatility at this was also stated that low market prices has a direct or indirect impact on the production in the study area. Other significant obstacles include the absence of organized market, issue of adulteration, lack of standardization and grading, and lack of credit option were also thought to be the significant obstacle faced by the saffron growers in the district Kishtwar. Some of the policy suggestions suggested by my paper are like: result of the study indicate that saffron market prices in the district is are actually erratic, which causes a high level of market volatility in the study area. So the high prices cannot be regarded as a measure of highest quality of the saffron. However, growers can improve not only their own welfare but also the welfare of the communities if they are given accurate information about the marketing conditions and reserve is connected to the exporter and the saffron producing in the exporting counterparts of the country. The study conclusion implied that saffron growers receive insufficient financial support as well, because saffron is growing big, which is very important. If we compare the cash crop with the other crops in the study area, it is comparatively more profitable. So it requires a good financial support from the government as well. The study conclusion also point the need of saffron grower to get education and training in more scientific method of saffron growing in the order to increase the productivity and the profitability of the saffron production in the study region. Moreover, it also highlights that, as advised by the GIAS Saffron site in 2012, it's crucial to use an all-encompassing holistic approach in a mission mode for the saffron production and commercialization in the study region in order to address all the issues related to the saffron production and marketing there. In a proactive manner, our endeavor will safeguard the saffron industry in the study area. Lastly, according to the study, corn rot that cause crop damage can be prevented by treating the corn before planting according to the scientific principle, and sufficient care should also be given to the corns when they are planted. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome. And yes, your paper has focused on the three major problems of the saffron cultivation, right?
Mm.
I think this district Kishwar is in Kashmir, is it?
Ma'am, this district resides in Jammu.
Jammu Kashmir. Oh, yes. Okay.
Hello, 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 hello,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a very good presentation.
thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, so you have concentrated. I mean, your focus is on the three problems. I think the pre-harvesting, post-harvesting, and the marketing problems. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
so?
Yes, ma'am. Pre-harvesting, post-harvesting, and the marketing problems.
Okay. Okay. So, is there any mention of these problems in any of the writings of the authors? We found this.
Yes, ma'am. One of the studies done for the hill agriculture in the Meghalaya, these problems have been also found there, but for the hill agriculture.
Okay. 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 Then good. It's good research. Okay. So, as tea picking, we have known much about the tea pickers. Okay, so as we the tea pickers are, I mean, the tribals involved in the tea picking. So here also the saffron cultivation is also been has lot many difficulties. So because it has been grown in hilly region, I think,
Yes, ma'am.
and see lot of problems, lot of encounters, lot of difficulties they have to voice out, and so they have been again not noticed, unnoticed, and they have to notice, they have to be concentrated, but they are working close with nature la? Because this is considered to be the sweetest and the very richest spice, I think,
Indeed,
saffron.
ma'am.
Is it
Indeed,
so?
ma'am. Indeed, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this particular district, Kishwar,
Yes, ma'am.
am I clear? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible to me,
Okay.
ma'am.
So what made you to focus your reading or do a presentation in this topic?
Ma'am, actually, the problems lying there in the study area have not been discussed since so long. It is the most profitable cash crop. The basic idea behind the study was to put forth the problem so that they can be tackled holistically in order to generate the revenue out of one of the most profitable cash crop in the study area, so that their economical status can be raised and it can be a good source of employment in the study area.
Okay. So you might have shown us some little pictures also. We would have been like a little. And I've seen the colorful pictures of this saffron cultivation because you are very close living. You're from Jammu, right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yes. Okay. So anyhow, it's really so. Maybe for your future reading, you can think about that.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Sure,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank
I'll
you. It's
include it.
very
Thank you so
nice.
much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.